We're gonna ask questions to Oswin now. I gulped, looking Osmond in the eye. He stared right back through his glasses, watching me carefully. This was it. In the off chance I never had a chance to talk to him again, I had to make sure I asked anything that might be important. Okay. Is a hot dog a sandwich? He was only going to tell me things that were relevant. All I had to do was ask. But what was considered relevant? I don't know. It's a mean prompt to give someone when they don't know what's happening inherently and need guidance. Alright, ask your questions, but it's irrelevant, I won't answer. It's like, oh, you just hit me with the fucking mass child death thing, and I wasn't gonna ask about that. What? An option is just to not ask anything? Or we're gonna ask questions. Oh. We're coming back later for this. Alright.
Can we just type names? Can we type just random things? Type Roswell. I want to see what that does.
Did you hear me?
I heard you. I just have nothing to say to that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I hate how there's no...
Is that even the right name?
That is the right name.
Yay!
I know the answer to that. Where is the... I don't know the syntax. What do we need to... What if you just type, like... I don't know, type... We could try typing keywords, maybe dreamer, oh Lord, grant us Book of Enlightenment. That's funny. I don't know. I don't even know if we need to frame, if we have to put these questions first. So like, we should just try using. We should try using keywords.
We're completely fucked because you probably have to ask. You probably have to type it perfectly. And
just try hypnos or dreamer or I'm trying to think. Was there any other names we got? I think hypnos and dreamer were the only two like Sal related ones we found. If it's like a text adventure, we probably need to put a question word first. And then, like, usually the way it works in text adventures is like, where is thing? What is thing? I think you'd be best asking something else, Dave. I wonder if that's random or if it's...
But what if He gestured at me to stop before turning his hands as they were.
Remember, we're on a timer. If a loose one, focus on what's important.
I was asking how loose I was. Okay, fine. What the fuck? Why did that prompt a different response?
I mean, okay, well so I want to get something out of this, and I can't tell. This is something that I find very frustrating, is like, I wish they had prompted us what kind of questions we can ask, because trying to figure out how to syntax these based off of what could either just be the fact that like we hit 6 questions, so it gave us a like hurry up Dave, or was that actually in the proper syntax? So here's one. Maybe ask, where are the medals?
So can doesn't get a response. Can I gets this response.
Okay, so it is formatted like a text adventure. So then maybe, where are the medals?
Ooh.
All right, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. If I knew the specific locations of each medal, it wouldn't be much of a hunt, would it?
Most people that send people on a hunt know the answer. Sure. That's what a game is usually. Then are we actually looking for things as part of a game, or?
The truth is, Benson and I don't know where all the medals are. Some perhaps. The appreciation I would have if you did manage to find them all would be immense, but...
But what?
My sister was the one that hid them, for no other reason than she had a theory she wanted to test. Then, okay, so what they told us originally was a lie. Because didn't they tell us originally they were lost by like a little boy or something?
I don't remember. I think it was just that they went missing, but I don't know if we got details.
I thought it was like the son of the house like lost a bunch of them or something.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like we're often at risk of backfilling details because of the fact that usually they don't tell us anything at all about most things.
Okay, well then scrap that off. It's fine.
It very quickly can be dangerous. Like, oh, they won it in a sweepstakes. Because it just that's what it would be.
That
right?
was a completely fair assumption for what it's worth, based on the way it was written.
Yeah.
Okay. She never told me. Then how do you know they're significant? All right, so that was a question. We got a question.
For all we know, you could be partially remembering it based on like, one of the siblings of the house or something, and it's like could have been what. Let's see.
Okay.
What is inside the vault?
Oh yeah.
With a sigh, Osmond shook his head.
I think I've said all I can on the vault. Unless you're about to ask me if I can use it, I'm not the right one to be asking.
Oh.
Oh. Well, maybe we can ask him if he can use the vault. If my siblings were able to take questions, I'd recommend them, but given they aren't.
I'm out of luck, huh?
Indeed. Maybe tell me about your
password to the vault. Shook his head. Nope.
Yeah, he's gonna respond just the same way. Who is your sister or brother, maybe?
Nope.
Nope. Let's think. Okay, really quickly. Let's think about unsolved mysteries. Whatever is in the vault, he won't tell us about. What is killing Roswell?
I said, who killed Benson? No sooner were the words out of my mouth that Osmond shook his head.
I don't know what you expect me to say to that.
What do you mean?
2 things, really. The first being that you seem to have forgotten that I do not know what you've seen, or any clues pertaining to the culprit and their methods.
But the boar opposite me raised his head, a sign for me to stay quiet as he continued.
Secondly, no one has died. It doesn't benefit anyone to ask about things that never eventuated, at least not so far, when there's so little to go off of.
That seems vague enough that it might be a response you get if you just type "who killed."
Yeah, yeah.
I grumbled in my chair, mumbling to myself. Fine, I guess.
Is there anything about Benson's murder that we don't understand, other than the identity of the person?
We just know that it was it's framed as a suicide, but it seemed like he was shot by somebody. Oh no, it's that he was hit by somebody. It didn't look like a bullet wound.
Okay. Did we...
But we have zero implicating evidence about any character so far.
I can't remember the timeline. This is an annoying thing about this. We tried to search for the gun, didn't we?
Yes.
Did we find it?
No.
Can we ask him where the gun is?
Is the gun.
Which gun? Mine? There
You
you
have
go.
a gun?
Of course, it was buried outside. What the fuck? What the fuck answer is that?
That sentence was deranged.
Yeah.
You have a gun? Of course. You know, where everyone keeps their gun. Buried outside.
Did Dean do it then? Because he was the one looking at the
If you say, of
the
course, it
greenhouse.
has to be on your person or, like, in your gun locker, like,
Or was
place
it
where
Roswell?
somebody would
'Cause
be
he
able to
went
access. He went
sniffing
truffle
around in
hunting.
the woods.
He went out and found the gun in the woods, and it took him over too long, and that's why he was out for too long. Because Roswell got the gun. Which doesn't explain much because Benson still wasn't killed by a gun.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Was that... Huh.
A smart plan? No, not really.
Plan? What was burying the gun supposed to accomplish? I don't... Was it loaded? Did you bury a loaded gun? What if one of us had found it?
Which is why I sent Benson to retrieve it before you were all due to arrive.
So it was buried, but before any of us were here in the first place. So it being buried seems really irrelevant to the story. There just is a gun in play that Benson already had when we got here, seemingly.
Funnily enough, I never got the gun from Benson. I let him deal with it.
What? But why?
What am I going to do with a gun? Benson is a lot more capable than you know. Although he does have a personal pistol. With a hunting rifle, he's quite a sharpshooter.
So he has a pistol.
So there are three guns.
Yeah, the gun is a rifle. There is now a rifle at play. Why does it... What narrative purpose does it serve to introduce that there was a rifle buried before we got here? That...
Can you, after this, can you ask... I think we should try to ask more stuff about Roswell. Is Roswell sick? Why does Roswell die? What is killing Roswell?
Yeah.
Like, those are all questions I think we should
find it
ask.
interesting that, like... I guess by asking about the gun, we've stumbled upon a gun that we didn't know was in the story yet. Because you can time travel back to this guy and keep asking him other questions probably later. But... Why would they... Yeah, Dave doesn't act surprised, so I think that's just supposed to be... It's like we're supposed to understand that that was the gun that was in play in that conversation, but surely they would expect us to ask about the gun that actually had been in the story already, not...
Well, I think that's what
we're still
Dave is
looking for.
asking. Dave is asking, where is the gun, thinking there's only one gun.
Yeah, but
Oswin says, my gun. Dave goes, I guess. And then Oswin reveals, actually, there are three.
Maybe. Dave didn't respond to the idea of another gun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think...
What is your
I don't think he
three?
responded to it, but...
What are the three guns that you think are in play?
Oswin has a gun. And then, what's his name has a personal pistol. And there's a potential rifle.
No, as far as I'm aware, the rifle is the buried gun.
Okay, so even then, there's two guns in play.
Yeah,
There's the
like
personal
because
pistol.
the flow of the conversation seemed to indicate that he's like that was the gun that he did not get back from Benson when he sent him to go look for it.
Sure. Okay. Well, then I didn't get that impression, but so if regardless, there's multiple guns in play is my point. Because there's a personal pistol that Benson has that we might have seen, and then a rifle. Okay. What's wrong with Roswell? Nope. Is Roswell dying? I really want to get more fucking answers out of Roswell, about Roswell. Nope. Who is the survivor?
It's like it's too much guesswork trying to figure out what phrasing they might want.
Yeah.
Let alone anticipating what might even be things he can respond to, or what prompts there might be. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to do.
Why did you
here.
make the vaccine? That's dumb. I don't know if that makes sense. Ugh. I don't know if I trust this to have an actual text parser. Like I think it's literally just we have to get the right.
I have no idea how it's interpreting the stuff or what the mechanic is. I flash back to playing Dr. Decker and getting increasingly frustrated as they had increasingly incorrect responses to what I was asking. And I'm like, no, that's not what I...
Can we ask... Let's see. I'm trying to think. The only other person or other unidentified party is this Hypnos person. I don't think he knows anything about it, but can we ask him, like, who is Hypnos? What is Hypnos?
It's not worth a joke when I'm having trouble typing.
Because, like, part of the issue with this game, and I think this is the way they want us to interface with it, is like there are all these lingering plot threads, so here's a chance to ask about it, and then we are supposed to remember and then ask these characters or put the things into the keypads, but like it does such a bad job of signposting what the actual questions are and what we can actually ask that like it almost feels futile, and it's very frustrating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's his right tusk.
Shit. Which tusk is the gay tusk? Yeah, I don't know. I think the purpose might be more to save here and be able to come back here whenever you something comes up that you think you'd want to ask him for the rest of the game. I don't know if we're supposed to actually have an answer available here, but that does mean that his shift into seriousness is all the more strange because most people resolve this scene by accomplishing nothing, probably.
Yeah. I really wish there were... I think a really elegant way to do this would be to have a series of verbs on one hand side, like Mad Libs it, where you can ask your verbs, and then you have a list of subjects that unlock as keys as the game goes on, so you can create a sentence.
I don't know why I went backward. I must have accidentally selected something.
Who invited us here? It might be a good one.
If you're wondering why I'm having trouble typing, chat, it's because I'm sitting back in my computer chair with a controller, so I have to like lean forward to the keyboard. I'm not centered very well. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm ready to move on just because it's been 20 minutes.
I'm so irritated about this. Yeah, that's fine.
Do you hear me?
I heard you. I just have nothing to say to that.
Oh. Okay. Dick. I frowned, thinking.
Done already?
I think so, yeah. Osmond got up from his side of the desk, supporting his weight on it as he did so.
I hope tonight was informative.
No. It was informative in that we got your fucked up backstory, but once again, every single thing we get from Oswin is only more reason for us to leave. He has continually failed to give us a single reason to play the game and stay in the mansion after being introduced to the threat that somebody's going to die. Like, and if I remember correctly, we don't resonate. So if I remember correctly, we never resonate in the timeline where we just leave. So Dave also doesn't know what happens if he just leaves. So you can't use the timeline where he just leaves for some reason without everybody, and then and never sees any of them again. That timeline is not usable as a character motivation because he doesn't remember that one.
It's just
so it's like a weird hand wave for us, but itself is also a weird messy ending because once again, incomprehensible that Dave would just leave without talking to anybody when he thinks that they're in danger. And
so one of the things about that's really frustrating to me is that, like, ostensibly, right, so far all of the signs are pointing to the fact that we are opting in to this insanity.
Yeah,
this is not a closed room mystery. This is not anything that we explicitly need to do. We just are trying to have a good vacation, and this silly murder hijinks is getting in the way. And it's just like, I feel like the best answer for this whole thing is what we learned at the start, which is that, like, Tyson is coming along. No one wants him here. None of these people seem to be particularly close friends. Why are they going on this trip? And when they get here and there is violence happening, why don't they just leave? Like, I want there to be a resonate where I can just be like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck this trip. Bye. Like, peace out. Like, fuck.
The
because
game...
like, this is so dumb. Like, I don't know why they're not all running away.
The game, like, we immediately clued on into the fact that it's just very strange that for a sort of like murder mansion mystery / death game hybrid story thing, that it's not a closed setting. There's nothing stopping you from just leaving, which is in itself is strange. And they have cell service, which is also strange. Like, we were both even though we technically knew that, or we technically had not been given any reason to think we couldn't leave, I think both of us were very much ready for there to be some kind of, like, almost like fucking like Echo or Silent Hill, like, supernatural reason why you can't leave, or something that would go wrong if you tried to leave. So we were completely caught off guard when the paramedics just showed up or whatever in the first bad ending we got. Like it very obviously was just not a close setting at all, because if you don't, like, force people to stay via some kind of threat, the Resident Evil zombie dogs or something, then it becomes a question of why you're not just leaving. What I struggle with is that the game's answer for why they don't leave is that they give you the option to just leave, and he leaves like an alien in a way that's completely incomprehensible to the player and not how anyone would behave, and then everyone just mysteriously vanishes. But then also he never knows that ending in the other timelines, so that timeline is also not usable as character motivation. So we're back to square one for not knowing why everyone doesn't just leave the moment something's wrong, which is what people would do immediately. If they thought they were in danger, they would just go home.
Well, the other bizarre thing about this too is, like, we could all leave. Yes, we could all go. But also, in their attempt to get us to stay, everything we have learned has just indicated that we shouldn't be doing the things that we were told we should be doing.
We've been told that he's somebody that does experiments that are unethical and a bunch of people die.
Yeah.
And then he's like, the aristocrats, now you should listen to me for some reason. I'm like, that was not a reason at all. You've still not given me a reason to stay here.
Even more than this, the thing that I'm really puzzled about is he's like, if you could find the medals, it would be really great. The whole premise behind finding the medals is that we could open the door. And then on top of that, we were told opening the door could end the world.
Yeah, we've been told explicitly not to open the door.
So why? Why are we not just leaving? How does this not benefit anyone? If I were Dave, I'd be like, all right, dude, peace out. And then get all my friends and be like, we need to leave. Vacation's over. I'm calling in a bomb threat to this mansion. The police will be here in 5 minutes. Goodbye. Like, That's just like what
Like
that's what this should be. I don't have
to put
any
this in,
compelling
to put
reason
this
to
in
keep
Cape
going.
Escape terms, this story would not survive Jet.
No.
Like me
no.
playing my character and as an independent agent in the narrative and behaving entirely based on my own personal character motivations and knowledge that I have so far, there would be zero reason to play along, zero reason to stay here, and I'm in danger, and people that I care about are in danger. Like that's what matters. So what are they doing? So what's very strange to me is that this is very much the Revelations location, like somewhat almost foreshadowed by the fact that Haas unpromptedly does a revelation of his own the moment we get here. But it's the place where you're supposed to meet up with Oswin and get all your answers after them basically teasing us for the last like several hours of the game, of finally getting a meeting with Oswin that'll finally give us all of the answers we need, which is the closest thing to a hook we've had so far. Is like all that we had so far is his total failure to actually give us a reason to stay here, but he's totally going to give us an answer tonight. And then we show up and it's like, not that library, sucker, tonight again, but the real library. And like, motherfucker, okay, I'll stick around for another day. Now that we've had the meeting, we still don't know why to stay here. And like, but we, the players, both suspect that this is some kind of experiment to save Roswell's life. Dave doesn't have that information, and Oswin has not made any attempt to convince him to stay here or even do whatever he even is trying. He hasn't even explained what the experiment or game is or what we're trying to accomplish by staying here, let alone the personal incentive of who we're trying to help by doing so or what the stakes are.
He has personally just given us reason to believe that the story we were told about why we were doing these things is a bad idea to play along with.
Yes.
Because there are bigger stakes if we do the thing he asked us to do.
The entire narrative is the medals, which he has told us to not cash in the reward for. So we've only lost objectives.
Yes.
There's no structured goal going forward. And he's like, I hope tonight was informative. I'm like, no! All you did was tell me you killed a bunch of children, and I don't even know you. So, like, what do I do with that?
I think the other bigger thing here, too, is, like, why are we playing this, right? I don't mean that in terms of Dave. I mean, like, the players, right? If you were trying to go for a metagame level of, like, well, you as a player have agency in this, and like that's part of the story. There's like a meta narrative going on. Aren't you interested in learning out the secret? You can't motivate a player to comply with an arbitrary series of events just by going like, well, aren't you curious what my riddle means? Like, you have to structure what you're saying to give catharsis both to the meta level, us, and to the characters we are ostensibly inhabiting. So at this point, we don't know why we're playing, and the character doesn't know why he's playing. So why? Is the solution just simply to not? Like, it's very weird. The structure here is extremely strange, and I don't know what it's trying to communicate to us as readers.
I don't know what to make of this game. I'm very it's just the gravity with which it had its big sit down CG moment, like this is here it comes, and then it gave us nothing, and then he walks away saying, I hope tonight was informative. I'm like, we've been building up to this meeting for 2 in-game days at least, which were the longest days so far because of how much time you spend looping to fix the deaths that happen in them. So we spent like a huge amount of the overall gameplay so far building up to this mystery and what's going to happen when we get to this room, and we didn't get answers from it at all.
I have an unkind comparison to draw here, but I figured out the empty scrolls in Fear and Hunger in 2 tries. I figured out how to ask the gods questions in Fear and Hunger immediately. Why are we having trouble figuring out what to ask Oswin? This is a
Well,
communication problem.
Well, I think that the question thing with Oswin, which is what adds to the anticlimax here and the strangeness of the scene, is that I think much like all the vault doors, Oswin is meant to be useless here for the actual
have
part
a
where you ask
specific
him.
answer. Yeah, we have like
I
specific
think
things we need to put in at specific times.
Yeah, I think you're very specifically not supposed to have a thing that you can actually ask him yet. But that makes the scene,
it's just weird that we
as its first run through, frustrating because we're coming away with nothing.
Yeah.
So why would Dave stay?
Yeah.
There was a sense of emptiness that accompanied this comment. His eyes lingering on me while I got up. It was. Yeah. Was it, Dave?
No.
What do you mean by that?
Then good.
He made to walk away, and I called out. Wait.
What is it?
What happens now?
You go to bed.
And you?
I have some calculations I need to run. Something I need to test. But hopefully you'll sleep soundly enough despite what we talked about tonight.
What? What? The fact that you have Radical 6 being behind the vault door? What am I supposed to do with that? I should. Sure, but what about us? Will we meet again? Will we talk again?
If you believe that it's needed, then I can arrange something for a few days from now. Let me think. Why can't you just, you live here, dude? You literally said you do nothing but read. Fuck off.
You literally have an intercom to Dave's room. There's no reason that's this hard for them to communicate.
3 days. Give me 3 days and we'll reconvene here. Same time, same place.
To talk again?
No. By then I should be able to show you something. Something in my lab, assuming you are interested.
Oh, no,
that is not what we asked for. We wanted to know when we could talk again.
Poor Dave is talking so slowly because he has Radical 6. But would that help? Help us figure out what's going on?
Not necessarily, but you can never go wrong with more information. So in 3 days, meet me here and I'll show you the lab.
All right. Day 28, he'll finally give us an incentive to actually have stayed here the month. Oswin wandered over to the door, stepping through it before turning around to look at me once more. With a nod, he closed the heavy door and it clicked shut, almost with the sound of a mechanism ensuring it'd stay that way. Almost with the sound of... What does that mean?
I think it's saying that Dave thinks it's the sound of a mechanism saying that it would shut. It would lock.
Like, not quite a mechanism that would ensure it stay that way, but like reminiscent of it. It's a leitmotif.
Well, I think Dave is saying it's almost as if he had a secret way out. And it's like, yeah, it is literally that. It's just it's like an idiom the way that he's using it.
For me,
turn of phrase.
I wandered back upstairs to the corridor, the meeting playing over in my mind. Had I said everything I needed to? Was everything put away, at least for the time being? I hoped that, if anything, there was going to be some breathing room to try and enjoy my time with my friends. Why would that be the case? You've just unambiguously had the stakes raised, but in a way that you have no way to act on or do with. But, like, how do you just pivot back to being like, haha, funny summer vacation, you guys?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the characters in this are complete aliens, so it's kind of irrelevant. Like, the way that their brains work is just not functional. They have absolutely no sense of reality, I don't think.
Is this game Whoops Ol' Eric's?
Yeah. Yes,
From Zero Time Dilemma. the ice cream boy. I shook my head, finding that even thinking that was maybe a little weird, a little too hopeful. I was on edge, and I was going to need to go all out to unwind. Up. Zip.
Mm-hmm.
I made it back into my room and nearly collapsed on my bed, kicking off my shorts, peeling off my shirt, and laying on my back. Any other night,
a ton of drugs.
Any other night, I probably would have indulged in relieving myself of some of this pent-up stress. But instead, I lay there with my thoughts. Is that the first time I've actually had a more direct sexual reference?
Maybe.
The phone was still in hand. I lifted it to my face so I could scroll through my messages. Each one of these a record of a time where I didn't have to worry about the person on the receiving end dying. My finger paused over one message chain, hesitating before clicking on it. There were so many messages, all sent by me, still waiting for a reply. I scrolled up, not bothering to read them for a bit before I backed out. There's one person who just keeps messaging over and over again, but they never respond.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's somebody who's specifically ignoring him, or if it's like one of those things where it's like he keeps sending messages to his dad that died.
Yeah, probably that.
I knew what all of them said. Almost like a journal of points in my life where I just needed someone to let someone know something was up. Couldn't be Tyson, or really anyone. These were private things. I dialed my voicemail, the options memorized from having done it so many times before. Holding the phone up to my ear, I closed my eyes, breath catching in my chest. It's definitely his dad.
Who with a smartphone has to dial their voicemail? Is that a thing?
I'm trying to remember. Voicemail definitely at least was more involved, like not that many years ago. Like it was just more frustrating to use, and it was like more of
I guess
like
I've just had an iPhone for so long that I just...
It's not unheard of. Like I remember like back in in the previous place I lived in, I think I had a phone that like had some kind of clunky process for dealing with voicemail. I really dislike cell phone voicemail because I can't... half the time I just can't even tell like if it's working or if I'm receiving messages or not, and I don't trust it conceptually compared to like old landlines. There was always that brief delay before the message started, to the point that I could count the seconds when the person on the other side realized the beep had sounded. Oh. There was a brief smirk on my face as the familiar voice came through. Guess I missed you, huh, sport? There was his laugh. My laugh. Our laugh. That nervous hyena chuckle that we'd been caught off guard by something. Well, figured I'd just check in on how things are going. You going all right, champ? Oh, right, this is just a message, isn't it? He laughed again, and despite the tears welling up, I laughed along with him, much like I'd done every time in the past when listening to his message. Well, best I get back to work. Rest up, and we'll see you when you wake up, all right? I love you, son. My reply was halfway out of my mouth before the message ended, the rest of the reply trailing off into silence to be replaced by my quiet sobs. My arm went limp, and I let the phone fall away from my head. I'll see him when I wake up. My eyelids drooped a little, and I breathed out, wiping the corner of my eyes and yawning. When I wake up. I fell asleep soon after, exhausted. I should have at least gotten under the covers or something, but by the time I realized, it was already morning.
All right, well, we made it to day 9, so I guess good for us.
We did it. See, like, that scene worked. It's almost startling after the last one. I know exactly what that scene was going for. It did it all correctly. It was a little, like, maybe a little predictable in that, like, I knew exactly what was being telegraphed and where it was going the moment the scene started, basically. But it's like, that scene serves that purpose in informing this character. It slots into elements of how this character's set up and what's going on with them. It would be better placed if it was following a scene where Dave had just had a series of revelations that put the stakes in perspective, and he's steeling himself for a mission that he's about to go on. But what Dave's currently going through is incomprehensible, so I don't... It's at most like him kind of coping with a stressful situation, but not in a actionable direction sort of way, because once again he doesn't know what's happening, or else doesn't know why he should stay here. So the surrounding game doesn't support that scene as well as it could, because there's a place you put that in the story, and it would be here, but the previous scene didn't really like give it the layup that it should have had. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is a trip.
Yeah.